Hi, I'm Nick Salazar for TriRig.com. I'm here with the man, the legend, 5-time world champion Craig Alexander, back at his home in Boulder, Colorado. Craig, you're back here for the summer. How have things been going for you?
Yeah, good. It was good to escape the Australian winter. Our trip's not as long this year, but yeah, really just enjoy being here. The whole family loves being here. It's like our second home, so keen to get into some solid training. I got a good block of training and a couple of races coming up, so looking forward to that.
So what's your race schedule look like for the rest of the year? Is it safe to say you've done your last Kona, or is that still not quite for sure?
I mean, it's hard to say you're never going back, but I mean, I definitely won't be there this year.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm enjoying having a lighter training load, spending more time with the kids.
Yeah.
But also on the other side of it, you know, I'm a competitor and I love to race. And when I race, I want to race world-class events. So I'm doing 70.3 races and picking some very competitive ones. So far this year I've raced 6 times. 5 have been half Ironmans, 1 Olympic distance. I've got Vineman coming up in 2 weeks, and then a 70.3 in the Philippines, and that's all I have scheduled. But I definitely will be racing more towards the end of the year as well.
And is that sort of fulfilling your competitive drive? Is it enough, or do you feel a little bit of that nostalgia for the?
Is it ever enough? I mean, you know, when you've raced at the highest level, you crave for that sort of competition. But you've also got to be realistic. I have 3 young children, a young family, a business venture I'm trying to get off the ground, and I just don't have the time to live and breathe preparing like I used to. So, yeah. and I'm good with that. I'm good with that. You know, when I race, I try and pick the races. I mean, earlier in the year, I raced the New Zealand long course champs, so I had to come up against Cameron Brown. Then I raced the Asia Pacific 70.3 champs, then the Australian long course champs. So I've been trying to pick races that do get world-class fields,
sure.
And certainly nothing really ever compares to the field you get at Kona or the 70.3 Worlds. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I had a good run at all those events, and yeah, I might get back to 70.3 Worlds. I know they're in Australia next year, so we'll see. But I think the main thing is just being able to do the training and prepare the way that I like to.
Yeah, and I'd heard that it was sort of a surprise to you that sort of transitioning away a little bit from that, really Kona-focused life, basically. It was a surprise to you to hear sort of like that there were so many sponsors and companies really excited to work with you, even though that was sort of, you were in that transition. How has that been going? Are you coming to grips with that a little more and sort of managing Craig Alexander, the brand, versus the Kona-winning athlete?
It's tough. I have a manager who's a good friend, and he looks after most of that. But it is a tough transition, I'm not going to lie, because I think for 20 years you just feel like a gun for hire. You have to win.
Yeah.
And it does something to your mindset. You have to win to reap the spoils, and you learn that's sport. It's performance-based. You get rewarded when you perform, and I guess there comes a time where people want to associate with you because of what you stand for and what you have done, not potentially what you're going to do. But it's a hard mindset to get around, because my mindset was always the next race is the most important. Whatever it is, I have to win it.
Yeah.
And then after that, don't dwell on that. The next one's the most important. And it was that sort of a mindset for 15 years.
Right.
So you can't just turn that off. But I'd like to think that I've been a good ambassador and spokesperson for the companies that I've been associated with. I've been very lucky. Most of them have stuck by me. We're very grateful for that. And, hopefully moving into the future, they see the benefit in keeping me around, because I'd love to stay with them.
I'm looking forward to the Tour de France, because last year, every 5 minutes, there was a chocolate milk commercial with you swimming through the ocean. Yeah. And I thought it was amazing. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky to get great sponsors, not only within the industry, but also outside the industry. And
you got Toyota, chocolate milk,
absolutely,
Jabra.
Had some great, really good sponsors. Yeah. And, I think partly is, I guess, because of the races you win, but I think a lot of it too is we're going through a sort of a health and fitness boom throughout the world now.
Sure.
And companies are interested in healthy lifestyles and people to promote that. So I guess timing is everything, and I was lucky to come along at the right time and win some important races. But that commercial was fun. I used to really despise that sort of stuff because it would interrupt my training. But
Yeah.
later in my career,
Sure.
I got to enjoy it more and see, I guess, the other side of sport and the business behind it, and it interests me a little bit.
You didn't even have to shave for that commercial. You were like Old Man River in that one.
You know what? I'm always clean shaven. That's one thing that I don't know. Because I've never really had a 9-to-5 job. I always
Yeah.
felt that was my one thing I could do.
Yeah.
But for that shoot, that was in the brief I got 3 weeks before.
Really?
They said don't shave. So I didn't.
awesome.
Yeah.
You had a little salt and pepper beard going on.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
great.
happens when you get old. So.
Yeah. No, I thought it was very distinguished.
Okay, distinguished. That's a good way to put
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, we just got done putting our new brakes on your bike. S-Works Shiv. You've been on this bad boy since 2011.
Yep.
Where you helped inaugurate its launch in fine fashion with obviously your third World Championship win at Ironman Hawaii and course record and your personal record.
Yeah.
Obviously. So bike is basically the same since then. I know last time we saw you had just moved to these J-bends and added a little bit of stack under the pads.
Yep.
Looks like it's unchanged since then.
I haven't changed anything. I'm actually going in to get a retool fit next week. It's something I do once or twice a year, particularly as I've gotten older. Obviously, you lose a little flexibility.
Sure.
And it becomes more of a balance between finding the position that you want to be in and the position that you really should be in.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on, I guess from a physical standpoint. But I haven't had to change too much since we last chatted. I think I just put those on, come up a little in the stack height. But bike's pretty much running the same. We've put the new TriRig brakes on today. I just love how functional they are. It's obviously I love that you guys have designed performance specs into them like weight and aerodynamics, but obviously the main point of a brake is to be able to stop. And
Sure.
these things are so functional, they grab so well and just have a really snappy feel. So
Thank you.
That's what first brought my attention to them. But also being a racer, you're always looking at cutting weight and aerodynamics and all those performance specs as well.
Yeah.
So, I think we're in a day and age where companies are trying to bring that sort of thing in, and I love that. I'm in a performance industry, so I love them when companies sort of implement that into their design as well.
Thank you. And speaking of design, one question I've always wanted to ask you but never have: why never the move to the split nose saddle? You've been on the classic,
Yep.
Aerione for as long as I've seen your bikes, and anytime I ride one of those in an aero position, it is just not comfortable.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things. I was never against trying new things. I think I was always good at doing my homework on certain things, trying them out. Particularly if I thought I could get a comfort benefit or a performance benefit, for sure. Obviously that's the point of.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I found that doing less is more, if that makes sense. And I had no problems with the seat as such.
Yeah.
So I didn't, I guess there's that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure.
I didn't always subscribe to that because I thought just because something worked, it didn't mean there was something out there that didn't work better.
Yeah.
But particularly later in my career, and as I was still doing the Ironman, the longer distance racing, I felt, I would look at the overall setup, but things that were working well, I'd stick with. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, I've ridden this saddle for a decade now, so it's been good to me. So it's still there.
All right. Well, best of luck on the rest of the season. Definitely huge fans at TriRig, and I think everywhere else in the tri industry. And I know everybody would love to see a Craig Alexander performance at 70.3 Worlds next year.
Yeah.
Or anytime. But yeah,
Thanks.
congratulations on a fantastic career, and
Thank you.
and thanks very much for talking with us.
Yeah, thanks for having it on for a chat.
For more photos and info, check out tririg.com. Thanks.